Hi there, my name is Kudabear. I've been playing RuneScape on and off since 2005. During that time I've played lots of restricted accounts, but I've never played the game as it was intended since 2011. Now, I'm seeking to change that by building a main to endgame content as fast as possible using routing and macro efficiency. Welcome back to Macroefficient Main. Hello and welcome back to episode 15 of Macroefficient Main. So in the last episode we began a lot of the skilling grinds required to get the quest cape, but the skills are actually only part of actually getting the quest cape. The other part is actually doing the quests themselves, and we have some big ones left. These are quests that are going to have difficult fights in them, similar to the Sins of the Father boss that I just beat in the last episode, and otherwise are going to take a long time to complete. Namely, I'm thinking about Dragon Slayer 2, Song of the Elves, and Monkey Madness 2. These are the three big ones I've got left to go, and I'd love to get one of them finished in this episode. And I've specifically got my eyes set on Monkey Madness 2. This is notable because it probably has one of the most brutal individual skill grinds as a requirement, that being 69 Slayer. So yeah, basically in this episode, we're going to be doing a lot of Slayer, but it'll be really useful to get this done first before the other two big quests, as it'll give me an opportunity to get a lot of my combat stats up in preparation for the future fights. In the meantime, however, I have been continuing the skilling grinds. I got my Herblore up to 55 just by doing Tar in the Bank, as I've shown in previous episodes. Nothing too notable there. And I'm planning on getting my construction up next a little bit, that being of course so I can put at least one more round of tiers onto Slayer, as it's extremely beneficial at this point in the account. So yeah, that all said, more skilling, more grinding, more questing. Let's jump on in. There we go. Oh. Whoops. Yeah, I kind of forgot about fishing there. That wasn't great, but at least fishing is also a little slow-ish, maybe? I don't know. Forgive me, for I have sinned. Now, it is important to note that I got these up to 55 because that's what my rune crafting is right now. And after everything passes 55, tiers will be going into rune crafting, which is totally fine because rune crafting is also really slow, but I won't be able to get any more help in Slayer beyond that. All right, so the next grind I actually want to knock out is going to be 60 fishing, which is the lowest level I need to get the quest cape. And in order to do that, I'm going to be doing the heavy fishing method via the Barbarian Fishing, which gives you some passive agility and strength experience. Objectively, this is something that I should have probably done early on in the account, as the passive agility and strength experience is far more useful the earlier you get it. And if you are envisioning maxing your account in the long run, it honestly makes sense to go straight to 99 here right away, as you'll end up with about 73 agility and strength, which is a huge help to all of the future progress of your account. However, considering that I'm just stopping at 60 for the quest point cape, it's really a tiny, insignificant amount of experience I would get in strength and agility. I'm still going to take advantage of it now before I am completely done with agility, but it definitely wasn't necessarily worth rushing into. So in order to unlock the heavy fishing, I need to complete the Barbarian training, and we'll go from there. Now, I am just going to be straight up AFKing this because I'm working on Time Traveler on the side, and that's higher priority. Of course, this is something that can be greatly sped up through tick manipulation, as are many things in this series that I haven't fully been taking advantage of, but I'm definitely of the opinion that you should do whatever is most fun and easiest for you to do. If that's fun for you to get that maximum efficiency out of every single tick, more power to you, and honestly that's amazing. But for me, who's often doing other work on the side and just can't straight up focus on doing a task like that for very long, this is better for me, and I'll make more progress like this over time, even though it'll take longer overall. It's also worth calling out that Barbarian Fishing itself is not very good until you get up to 70 and you get the leaping sturgeon. I'm not exactly sure about specific experience rates, but the leaping trout and then eventual leaping salmon that I'll be taking advantage of don't give a ton of experience, especially in those passive skills I was talking about before. But yeah, planning to stay here until we get all the way to 60, as that'll be a nice one to knock out. It's blocking a couple of quests I want to get done later in this episode. Now, since I will be boosting this grind with Admiral Pies like I have in the past, And I've unlocked the Preserve Prayer. I went ahead and put on some decent prayer gear such that I can use the Preserve Prayer pretty effectively for a long time. And when I do run out, I'll teleport back to the Ardoin Monastery to recharge and then back here with the Games Necklace. It should be really fast. And honestly, these pies should last a long time because of it. It's nice to boost here as well, as when I hit 53, I'll be effectively 58 and be able to catch the leaping salmon right away. There we go, 60 fishing. Just a number of hours later, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours, nothing too terrible. And that's the last blocking thing between us and a couple more useful quests. So let's take a quick break to do some questing. I have been waiting to get this level for a long time. Every time I did a birdhouse run, I was meticulously checking my experience and making sure I wasn't going to level up. And then of course the run where I actually level up, I just completely forgot to. And I hit 70, but that's a huge deal because 70 will allow me to complete the quest cape. So that's the highest hunter requirement, and I've accomplished it entirely just by doing birdhouse runs over the course of the account. Definitely do your birdhouse runs. They are so nice. Oh, and I will be doing birdhouse runs past 70 because I may as well. It's pretty decent money, and it'll be nice to have that progress for the future of the account beyond this series as well. It only takes a few minutes every time I do an herb run anyway, so might as well continue. And the reason we needed that 60 fishing is so that we can do Swan Song with a boost. So that'll be the next quest we knock out. Let's get it done. And bingo, there's the end of Swan Song. Actually didn't realize this quest gave you 10,000 fishing experience. Probably could have made use of that better by doing it a bit earlier since I was boosting anyway. That was a little bit of a waste. Also that prayer experience as well. Whoopsie, but still happy to have this one out of the way as it unlocks the next big quest. And that next quest is actually going to be making friends with my arm. And if you noticed, I don't actually have the mining requirement for this quest. I'm 2 levels under. So I'm going to be using the Dragon Pickaxe special to boost to that level. So let's get this started and see how it goes. And like an immediate genius, I used my special attack energy on a rock crab, and now I have to wait. So, yay, go me! Alright, there's the end of making friends with my arm. I didn't realize it was actually really simple to boost for this quest. For some reason I was remembering having to boost a lot to mine the salts underneath, but I guess that's a post-quest activity. So boosting was really simple, and it'll be more than possible to get this quest done with just 70 mining. And with this one out of the way, I can actually sell the Dragon Pickaxe back now. But for some reason it went up like 1 million from when I bought it, even closer to 2. So I'm not complaining. That is an incredible amount of money I just got from buying and using this normally. Super cool. And the coolest part about finishing making friends with my arm is I actually unlock a brand new herb patch. I can actually buy these icy basalts off of the Grand Exchange, and that allows me to come here and go ahead and plant some new herbs. Totally forgot I actually have to build the fire here to enable the herb patch, so I just bought all the supplies off the Grand Exchange. Being a regular account for this part is really nice because I really hate mining those salts and basalts, but with the fire built, that allows us to plant a Renar seed here, and I will be planting Renars here as it is a protected patch, so you might as well plant the seed with the highest profit margin possible. Okay, so unfortunately, it's time. It's time that I actually properly train Slayer. 69 Slayer is probably going to be the most time-consuming individual requirement of any for the quest cape. Slayer is unfortunately really slow, and I'm going to try to speed it up as much as possible with efficient task blocking, but there's really not a whole lot you can do early on until you backlog some points. You mostly just have to suck it up and try to get as much Slayer done as possible. The flip side is Slayer is really fun, and it will provide additional benefits for the account down the road, so it's definitely a bittersweet grind. It's going to be long, but it should be a pretty good time at least. So without further ado, let's get started with literally the worst task in the world because I have no points to skip it. Ogres. Ugh. So one thing about Slayer I have to admit is I really don't know what to do with it. I'm very much a noob when it comes to Slayer as I haven't really trained the skills since like 2011, and back then I would pretty much just do whatever task I got for whatever Slayer Master seemed most convenient to get to. So it was really slow, needless to say. So what I'm gonna do this time is I'm actually gonna try to do some task boosting with Turial. So basically I'm going to get tasked with Turial all the way up until I'm about to do a task that's divisible by 10. And then what I'll do is I'll go to Konar and get a task there to try to get the most possible points boosted, as Konar gives massive Slayer points on those 10th tasks, kind of outweighing doing the individual tasks with her or anyone else. And I'm hoping that'll give me a quick backlog of points that I can use to block tasks that are annoying for the rest of the Slayer grind. The experience will obviously be abysmal, but I'm hoping in the very long run it will result in better experience. And this was a really bad angle. What the heck is this angle? It's finally time to go ahead and imbue this black mask so that it works on ranged tasks as well as melee. That's why I got all those points before. And there we go, only about 45 minutes later or so, I've completed a 10th task, which was a Konar task, and thankfully it was pretty short, only 14 black dragons. One thing I'm actually going to pick up here is a cannon. It's really expensive, and I don't think I'll use it a ton, even though it would probably be advantageous to use it just about everywhere I could. But I am going to use it for the task boosting, as a good number of the tasks that you can get from Turial can be cannoned, and it does speed things up a lot because the monsters tend to be pretty spread out as well. And so this is probably the very last time you'll see me collect Tears of Guthix, at least for this series. I know we've spent a lot of time in this dark, dank cave, and it's been pretty much for a good amount of progress, so I suppose it has all been worth it in the end. And now I have made sure it's going to go into the correct skill, and that's probably the last batch of experience I'll go into Slayer for at least a long time, potentially forever. For some reason I was thinking this was 300 points and not 150, but I'm definitely going to go ahead and unlock the bigger and badder perk. In my opinion, this is the best first perk to get with your Slayer points, as superiors are so incredibly rare while fighting Slayer monsters. The earlier you can get them, the better. And not necessarily for the drops, mostly for the boost to the experience you get for actually getting a kill on a superior. It's actually so cheap too, only 150 points, there's really no reason not to. Though definitely take everything I say about Slayer with a massive grain of salt. I definitely lack a lot of expertise when it comes to Slayer. Also, I hate this camera angle. What is this camera angle? Imagine you're just having a rough day, decided to go down to the pub, get a drink, hang out with some friends, and some guy just strolls up into the pub and sets up an entire freaking cannon and starts blasting everyone in the face. But lo and behold, there is a huge level, 70 ranged achieved. I'm so happy to have this level. I've more or less been gaining this experience passively by training ranged for other things such as getting Void or Nightmare Zone points or Slayer. And it took a long time to get up to 70, but that is a huge level to have. And of course, 70 range gives us the ability to equip Black Dragonhide and Blessed Dragonhide. Now, since the Black Dragonhide nerf, it is actually a lot better to wear a full set of Blessed Dragonhide, as it not only gives you a prayer bonus, but it also gives you better defense. However, because the accuracy actually isn't impacted, I'm just going to wear Black Dragonhide for now, just to make sure I have some more money on hand to make sure I can get the rest of the skilling goals done for the quest point cape. Also, the Barrows gloves have a +1 ranged accuracy bonus over the Black Dragonhide Vambraces, which is really nice because it also comes with a lot of other stats, so I'll be wearing those still. I don't know why this just occurred to me, but I should be using Expeditious Bracelets on these tasks from Turial. There's no reason not to, as the lost stats from the Barrows gloves don't really mean anything anyway, and it could speed up the tasks by just a little bit, so I'll be using some now. There we go, another huge level, 70 defense. And this is actually where I'm going to end the melee part of my Slayer grind, believe it or not. I don't really see a reason to get any higher melee stats. They could be useful, and objectively the Slayer grind might be a little faster overall, but I really want to throw all of that experience into ranged. And there's a lot of reasons for doing this. One reason is I think it'll make the endgame quest fights a little easier, as I'll primarily be using range for those fights. But another reason is for another series idea I have just after the end of this series, where a high level in ranging will be very beneficial, and I want to prepare for the future for that. I don't think it'll be super impactful to the rest of my Slayer grind. Oh, and almost forgot, 85 combat from that level, which is huge, as obviously 85 combat is required for the quest cape. Also, one other thing that's worth noting, typically from a maxing efficiency perspective, it is actually better to do as much melee as possible while training your Slayer, as you won't even be able to max all of your melee stats just by getting Slayer to 99, so it gives you a lot of experience in those that you wouldn't really be able to get anywhere else. Also, typically people will use a cannon on a lot of Slayer tasks, and that provides a lot of passive ranging experience. Generally speaking, ranged is so useful at a lot of endgame PVM that tends to be leveled fairly passively anyway, and the melee stats are the the problem. I'm not super worried about this, however, as I'm only going to 69 Slayer for now, which is 1/13 the experience required for 99, so I will still be doing a lot of my melee training through Slayer in the future beyond the context of this series. Also, Nightmare Zone is a great option for training melees that is extremely AFK and can be done with basically any other work or account, so I'm not too worried about it. If I have to do that for a little bit of inefficiency, it's worth it for me since I have so much time where I just need a really AFK activity anyway, so I feel like I'll take advantage of that in the future. And there we go, that's 100 tasks completed. This has gone so much better than I could have hoped. I get a massive 450 points for this task, which gives me a total of 1300. And mind you, this is after I already spent 150. I did not realize just how fast points would come with this method. It's incredible. I highly recommend it if you're in need of points. And so that brings us to this point. I'm actually going to be using Neve, I think, for most of the rest of my Slayer training. I might still do those milestone tasks if there's even many more of them at Konar, since it is such a massive amount of points, and I'm sure they'll be useful. I also have no idea what my task list is going to look like by the end of this. I got those points so I'd be able to block more slow tasks, but it's really hard to find a guide as to what's a good task list to do when you're kind of mid-game and broke, as most of the block lists are fully designed around speed and cut out profit entirely, and I'm not going to be able to cannon forever. It's really expensive and it's just melting my bank, so I don't want to rely on that too much. However, I do know there's things like bursting that I can do to speed things up fairly cheaply, so I'm going to be taking advantage of that where I can. Now, in terms of unlocks, I think I'm going to go ahead and buy the Slayer helmet upgrade. I wasn't sure if I was going to get this, but because I got so many points from doing the point boosting grind, I'm really not worried about it, and it'll be useful to have. I'm also going to go ahead and buy Ring Bling, so that'll be another 300 points, and that puts me down to only 620, but it'll be really useful as I'll be using those Slayer rings to get to Neve to get tasks again, so I'm really thankful to be able to have that as well. The rest of the points, though, of course, I'll be saving for blocks, and we'll see how this goes. I'm only 57 Slayer from that point boosting grind, which isn't a lot, but it's also still 120k or so experience, so not too bad. Overall, I think it only took me like 9 or so hours as well, so it's really not bad at all. All right, Neve, give me something good. 63 elves, I have no idea if that's good. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and make some Slayer rings. I'm really excited. These will be really... crap. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that bit. That sucks. I'm not planning to get crafting high enough to actually make them. Well, it'll be a little bit more of a run to Neve, unfortunately, and I wasted 300 points, at least for the context of this series. Definitely will still use this at some point in the future, though. Even with that, thankfully, I can still make the Slayer helmet. I don't know what's going to happen because my mask is imbued, and it looks like it just works. That is also an imbued Slayer helmet. This is incredible to have. I didn't think I'd be able to get it, but here we are. Nifty little thing here. I can now boost with the Hunter Potion to get the magic tier of birdhouses, which means even more bird's nests for me. And thanks to the Preserve Prayer, I don't have to use more than 1 dose of a Hunter Potion in order to place all of the birdhouses. I used to have to use 2 since you can't really get it all done in 1 minute, but you can definitely get it done in 90 seconds. Well, a Dragon Spear from Fire Giants. All right, why not? Pretty big level coming in here. That's 75 ranged, and that's notable as it allows me to use the Toxic Blowpipe. Now, the Toxic Blowpipe isn't quite as powerful as it used to be, but it's still extremely powerful, and I'll probably be picking one up at some point. That said, I don't think I'll be using it for the Slayer grind too much, as it's actually still pretty expensive to use, and as I've said many times before, I am very broke, and I need to conserve as much money as possible for the Slayer grind. So, I just got a Black Mass drop, and I just got a Black Mass drop. Cool. And thanks to that extreme luck on that Cave Horrors task, I'm able to buy some Guthix Plus D-Hide. So now I have the full set, looking pretty good. Much better defense. And there's 76 range, which is not a huge accomplishment on its own, but it allows me to hit 1500 total, which it's honestly ridiculous to see how far this account has come since we started, and to know that we're really getting close to the end here. Just gotta do a bunch more grinding. So the next thing I'm actually about to do is complete all of the easy and medium tiers of achievement diaries that I can. And the reason I want to do this is I want to make sure I get as much free experience in Slayer as I can, as it's just so incredibly slow to train. I think it would be really beneficial to do it now. And full disclosure here, I actually did complete all of the achievement diaries already. I forgot to record the vast majority of it, but you know, it's just achievement diaries. So let's go ahead and collect those rewards. Okay, I'm actually going to end off the achievement diary grind there. I'm not going to do the Western Provinces diary, as I don't want to get those chompy kills. I think it's going to take me longer to get the kills than it would actually save me just training Slayer directly. I will do that at some point in the future, but I don't think it's worth it right now. But because we did finish all the other tasks I wanted to finish, let's go around and collect all the lamps. This is going to be the fun part. There's the wilderness. Here's the desert. The Fremenic. The Fremenic is actually really nice because these sea boots give me a teleport to this area every day, which is pretty handy because it's still kind of hard for me to get here. And there's the Kandarin. Kramja's actually weird. If you notice, it's a little different than the other diaries. It gives a little less experience and the lamps look different. It's actually because it predates OSRS's back update, and the other achievement diaries all came out in the achievement diary update later on after OSRS's release. And turning in Mordania. And then finally Varrock with Toby. This inventory looks absolutely stacked. This is going to be pretty fun. Oh man, I am so excited. Let's turn in these experience lamps and see how much it gets us. I'll go ahead and throw up the actual experience tracker here and we'll see what we can get. And there we go. A quick and easy 4 million experience an hour and 66,000 total Slayer experience. Now, that's not actually accurate. I think it took me about 2 hours to do everything that you just saw, but that's still over 30k experience an hour, which is totally worth it. There's no way I was going to be getting that just training Slayer normally. I'm still really thankful to have this done though, because I really want to get back to just training Slayer normally. I do not like doing achievement diaries at all. I find them really tedious. Oh, and of course, if you are looking to max instead of just get the quest point keep, it is still 100% worth putting it into rune crafting still, as rune crafting is just a pain. But because I'm only looking to get Slayer done as fast as possible, that's where I put it. It's technically not super efficient to do it in maxing context though, as you tend to be able to get 99 Slayer just by training your combats up, and even need to go above and beyond a little bit for combat, so Slayer experience is not exactly passive, but it's pretty passive. And here we are, after quite the journey. As you can see, I did swap to melee at the very end there just to get a little bit of extra experience in it. I don't really need it, but I thought it was more useful than going and continuing to train my range, which I got to 80. I only really wanted 80 anyway, but thankfully we are just a little bit under 7.5k away from the level we need. You might have noticed that I did not claim the last experience lamp I got from the achievement diary grind, and that was the medium Corinth and Kebos lamp. So I'm gonna grab that, throw that right onto Slayer, and there we go. 69 Slayer accomplished. Wow, I did not realize how long this would take. Slayer is incredibly slow. Overall, I completed just about 130 tasks, which isn't too bad considering I was doing quite a bit of point boosting, honestly. And near the end, I wound up doing a lot more cannoning, just to help speed up the experience a little bit. So it was a bit of a drain on my cash stack, but overall I don't think I spent too much on this grind. Regardless though, incredibly happy to have this one out of the way, and just one thing remains between us and the quest that we're gonna do at the end of the episode. Let's get it done. And finally, the last requirement for the Monkey Madness 2 quest, 70 crafting is achieved. A little bit of a pivot on this. I kind of just knocked it out very quickly using green dragonhide bodies and then eventually molten glass to save a little bit of money. But overall, it was very fast. I do love how fast crafting is, even though it does cost a little bit of money. So, that said, let's get started. Monkey Madness 2, here we come. There we go. Just had to take a quick detour to unlock this balloon route to the Tree Gnome Stronghold. But let's actually get started on the quest now. Truck's ultimate weakness, running around the room like an idiot. And of course, Cobb's biggest weakness is a doorway too small to fit in. How did he get in this room anyway? And Keef's greatest weakness is a tree. And also, yes, it did take me forever to actually get the safe spot set up. I had to teleport back twice. Oops.
Fight! Fight!
And Glow's greatest weakness is a tunnel a little bit too small for him to fit into. There we go, finally, the end of one of the most massive quests that we'll be doing on this journey. I'm so grateful to have this quest done, and more specifically, the requirements for it. That is the biggest skilling grind that we'll have to do on this account, by far. Also, of course, the Royal Seed Pod is a huge unlock for the account as it's unlimited teleports here to the Grand Tray, which will be super nice. Jeez, what a grind this has been, seriously. Funnily enough, I don't think the quest was actually all that bad. Glow is just a little dated compared to other bosses like the Sins of the Father boss, and it's probably no surprise, but that's actually where we're gonna wrap things up today. Thank you so much for watching. We're actually getting really close to the end of this series. I think one, maybe two more episodes, and we'll have that quest point cape. It has been a heck of a journey already, and I'm so grateful to have you along for the ride. Of course, we can't leave without having a look at the progress. 141 quests completed, only 9 to go. Of course, a couple huge ones as part of that, but we are really close. And we'll click on the time played here and show that this episode took me over 3 days of playtime, specifically 3 days and 2 hours. The vast majority of that was Slayer, of course, and that was more time than I've spent on any individual episode in this series. The remaining episodes should take less time as well, as the skill requirements are not going to be quite as difficult as the Slayer grind was. It feels so good to know that we're pretty much at the end here and we can just coast into the finish. So with that out of the way, just a heads up that I will be playing the Leagues 3 Shattered Relics pretty exclusively on this channel over the next 6 weeks while the game mode is available. I'm incredibly excited, and I know a lot of people are going to be making content about it, but it's something I've been looking forward to forever, so I hope I can at least provide a unique experience here on this channel. So have a look out for those videos coming up in the coming days. In addition to that, I'll also be live as much as possible streaming the game mode here on this channel. Have a look out especially tomorrow on release day, that is the 19th of January, as I will be streaming all day for the release of Leagues 3. It'd be great to have you pop in, say hi, and check out how things are going. I'm definitely extremely excited, and it should be a lot of fun. Obviously, that means that this account will be pretty much on hiatus over the course of the game mode, but I plan to jump in strong immediately following. And always, a huge thank you to all the channel members who have joined the channel, especially huge thanks to OneKiller912 and PeepoTime for joining that top tier. That's all I have for today though, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon with Leagues 3 Shattered Relics. Take care.